What up? We are in effect tonight. We are here, and we all know what it is. It's not news. We have come to the best part of the season. There's a good part of the season, there's a great part of the season, and then there's the best part of the season, which is the postseason. And the postseason hasn't exactly started yet, even though the play-in tournament is considered the postseason. It's not exactly the postseason. And I understand why the play-in tournament is what it is. No doubt. I do get that. But with that being said, still not the postseason. The Chicago Bulls are probably going to make the playoffs because the Miami Heat had to play in a meaningless game against Philadelphia yesterday to secure a spot in the playoffs. Even though they already did secure a spot in the playoffs, they now had to play in a meaningless game to do that, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. But again, I do understand it. It's a money grab. It is. And because it's a money grab, and people watch, oh, it's 100% going to be that. No doubt. 100% it is. So I might not love it, but I understand it. I understand it. So we basically got the brackets. We almost have them set. Right? 2 through 7 is set. 3 and 6 is set. 4 and 5 is set. We're just waiting on the number 1 seed. That's it. We got everybody else. Everybody else is already figured out. The only guys we have left are the number 1 seed and the number 1 and the number 8 seed. So who does that leave us with? That leaves us with Boston playing the Chicago-Miami winner. I think they're going to beat Miami, to be honest with you. I would actually, I would like to see, I wouldn't mind seeing Miami, but it is what it is. I get it. Yeah, I understand it. But with that being said, we have to play the play-in tournament. Whatever. This is what it is. This is what it is, and I get it. So if you look at the rest of it, so the 2-7 matchup, which is the Knicks and Philly, this is one of those matchups. This is like in an NCAA tournament where you get a team in the second round of the tournament. This really should have been an Elite 8 game or a Sweet 16 game, only except that's not how the committee did it. Same logic with Philly. The exact same logic with Philly, where, their best player and arguably the best player in the league, one of the 5 best players in the league, he went down. And the fact that he went down, that kind of threw a monkey wrench in everything that they were doing, because this Philadelphia team, if Joel Embiid is healthy, they're clearly a top 3 seed in the East. Clearly. And I'm going to get to this Eastern Conference being weak. The Eastern Conference being weak nonsense. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. Excuse me. I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But I think it's going to be a clash of 2 different styles and matchups. Matchups are everything in the playoffs, right? I feel like matchups are everything in the playoffs. And because matchups are everything in the playoffs, favorable matchups are what make these things more enticing. So this is a favorable matchup for the Knicks. I would like the Knicks so much better. I would like the Knicks so much better in the East if Julius Randle was available. Just like I would like Philly so much better in the East if Joel Embiid was coming into these playoffs like he was playing in January. I would like them so much more because of how he was playing. Now, don't get me wrong. Joel Embiid has to prove that he can get it done in the playoffs, and he hasn't been able to do that. He's got tripped up in the playoffs more than once, more than twice. His game hasn't really. People say he's played good and he's been injured. He hasn't been terrible, but his game has suffered come playoff time. That has happened. 100% it has. So, with that being said, the Knicks, their game is tailor-made for a series like this because their X factor is different from Philly's X factor. Philly's X factor is their best player. We don't have to look any further. We don't have to look at Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, Melton, Kelly Oubre. We don't have to look at any of those guys. Philadelphia 76ers X factor is one guy and one guy only. It's their best player. How healthy is he going to be? How effective is he going to be? How injury prone is he going to be? And how is all of this going to affect his production? That's it more than anything. How is all of this going to affect his production? And if it doesn't, something just flew in my eye. Sorry, guys. If it doesn't, the Sixers got a really good shot. They got a damn good shot. However, if it does, I think they're out in 5 games. If you look at how the current makeup of the Knicks is, it's a classic Tom Thibodeau team. You got grit, you got dirty work, you got hustle, you got defense, you got rebounding. That's Tom Thibodeau. That's him. That's his crew. That's how he builds his unit. So he has everything that he needs. Who is the Knicks X factor? I don't think you have to look any further than Josh Hart. I don't think you have to look any further than Josh Hart. And the reason why I don't think you got to look any further than Josh Hart, off the strength that just like Joel Embiid, the Knicks don't have anything to really contend with that, but they can battle. And when I say battle, I mean they can throw bodies at Joel Embiid. They can rough Joel Embiid up. And when I say rough Joel Embiid up, the Knicks are already a tough team, but they can rough Joel Embiid up and bring the fight to him. What up, Hoops? What up, Dre? They can bring the fight to Joel Embiid and test how healthy he really is. Run him. I thought the Miami Heat did a terrible job in transition with Joel Embiid yesterday. I saw Joel Embiid plenty of times behind the defense, behind the offense. Plenty of time where he was just crossing half court and the ball was already in the front court. Plenty. I don't think Bam took advantage of him and his ailments. I don't think he took advantage of Embiid and his ailments. I think the Knicks will. I think Hartenstein will. I think Robinson will. I think Mitchell Robinson will run Joel Embiid, make him work on offense in transition in particular. But the Knicks X factor, like I said, they can throw big bodies at Joel Embiid, make him work in transition. Philly doesn't have Josh Hart. Just so you guys are clear, I don't know if you guys know this, but Josh Hart is averaging, in the 3 games that they've played them, he's averaging 14 rebounds on average. How do you attest for that? How do you account for that? When you got your starting 2 guard cleaning glass, he averaged more rebounds than Joel Embiid. He averages more rebounds than all of them dudes. He had a 19, I think he had a 20 rebound game against them. I think he's averaging 3 offensive rebounds. So, just him. This doesn't include arguably the best offensive rebounder in the league in Mitchell Robinson. It doesn't include him. It doesn't include Hartenstein. And I'm watching Joel Embiid on the defensive glass last night. Yeah, he had 15 rebounds. He struggled, though. And now he's going to get jumped, very much like Dallas did Joker. He's going to get jumped on the glass, which he should. Which he should. Because I'm watching Philly rebound last night, and I don't think that they can contend with the Knicks on the glass. I don't. I think the Knicks can win this series in 5-6 games. I do. And then you have Milwaukee and Indiana. And I'm going to get right to the point. If Milwaukee jumps on Indiana and they go up 2-0 in this series, Giannis is done for the series. I don't see Giannis playing. I don't. I do not see him playing in this series. The way I feel about when guys tell you that they got a heart condition, that's how I feel when I see a guy strain his calf. That's in the same neighborhood as the Achilles. The same neighborhood. You just live down the block. Our houses are not that. You like 2 houses down. We ain't in the same city. We in the same neighborhood. That worries me. That worries me 100%. It does. Now, I remember this in the past. I believe Lonzo Mourning had a strained calf, and with him having a strained calf, they ended up, I believe it was in the 04-05 playoffs. It was either 04-05 or 05-06, where they were able to sit him in the first round. I want to say against Washington in 04-05. I think it was Washington. And they were able to sit him. It was a mild strain, which means it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. This thing with Giannis, which was a non-contact injury, that it looks a lot. I don't like to play. It looks a lot worse than what they've told us. A lot. I don't like to play around with stuff like this. I don't. Because if Giannis goes out there and he's not ready, and you rush him, and when we end up with a situation like what happened with KD, not only do I lose him for the rest of this season, I lose him next year too. And now we're 2 years behind because I feel like this window is open with this group. In terms of him and Dame, I feel like the window is open for 3 years, including this year. So if we take this year off the board and he ends up with a situation like KD, and now I lose him for next year too, that's 2 years that's gone. 2 years that's gone. Excuse me. So, with that being said, how does Indiana beat Milwaukee? Well, one, you can attack the paint. You can attack them in transition. Their best defensive player, their best rebounder is not there. I'm not even talking about what Milwaukee has on the offensive side of the floor, because we all know how good Damian Lillard is. I'm talking about on the defensive side of the floor, their best rebounder, their best interior presence, their best defensive rebound, their best rebounder, and one of their best interior presence. Clearly, Lopez is their best rim protector. I think he's third in the league in blocks. So he's their best rim protector. Giannis is their best rebounder. One of their best interior defenders. You take that off the floor, now we have something completely different. I feel like we can attack them. I feel like we can get them in action. Damian Lillard in particular. Him and Brook Lopez. Get those guys in action. Get those guys in switch action. And you guys know how I feel about guys like Damian Lillard getting hunted. You guys know how I feel about stuff like that. And when you got a guy like Damian Lillard, who is as good as he is offensively, is even worse defensively, Go after him. Go after him. Exactly how Sacramento went after Klay Thompson. Go after him. Because I feel like going after him, they can't protect him. They can't protect him. So, with that being said, I think Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers speed the game up like they've always done. I think they play fast. They are, if I'm not mistaken, they have the number one pace in the league. Nobody plays faster than them in the league. So they're going to play fast. I think Siakam is second in the league in transition points. Behind Giannis, by the way. Second in the league in transition points. No Matherin. So guys like Neesmith, guys like Obi Toppin, guys like that on the perimeter are going to have to chip in big time. Now, let's also not forget Indiana's presence in the paint. I'm not a big Miles Turner fan. I think he's soft. I do. I think he can be pushed around. I think he can be roughed up. What I mean when I say pushed around and roughed up, I mean you could bring the fight to him. And in the process of bringing the fight to him, you could get the best of him. He's always been a good rim protector, but being a good rim protector does not mean that you're not soft. He's never really been a good rebounder. He gets roughed up. I've seen him get roughed up by other bigs. And I don't just mean the elite bigs like Joel Embiid and Anthony Davis. I don't just mean those guys. No. I'm talking about other bigs like Daniel Gafford when he was in Washington, roughing him up. Mitchell Robinson, Hartenstein, Robert Williams when he was in Boston. I see him get roughed up by Clint Capella and guys like that. That happens with him. So I think that he's the X factor in this series. I think that Milwaukee can take advantage of that. In the half court, go after him. Make him guard. Make him guard the rim. He's a good rim protector. Make him do it then. Make him do it. Yep. Make him do that. If Indiana goes up, not Indiana, that's the thing that I'm worried about. If Indiana goes up in this series, they go up 2-0, now the clock starts ticking faster on Giannis. Like, what's going on with Giannis? When in reality, what up, Kenny? When in reality, you don't need to rush him. Because again, strained calf is not something to play with. The strained calf is not something to play with. A strained calf can turn into a ruptured Achilles. I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear losing Giannis for the rest of this season and next season. Not trying to hear that. Nope. So, with that being said, the way Indiana can jump on these guys is exactly that. Speed the game up. Get Damian Lillard in action. Hunt him. Go after him. Go after Pat Beverly, too. I'm a big advocate of going after your best defender. Because if you are that, right? If you are that, prove it. That's why I feel the way I do about Phoenix and Minnesota, who I'm going to get to in a little bit. If you are that, prove it. You're our best defender. You're our best rebounder. Go after him. Make him do his job. Make him. Then you got the 4-5 seed. What up, King? What's up, brother? Then you got the 4-5 seed. I am probably in the minority when I say that I think Cleveland handles these dudes. I think Cleveland handles these dudes off the strength that not just the fact that they're young, because I've seen young teams win a playoff series, right? I have seen that. I've seen young teams win a playoff series. I got Cleveland handling them off the strength that as good as Orlando's defense is, Cleveland's offense could be even better. And our defense is better than your offense. And the way we got roughed up last year by the New York Knicks, you guys ain't doing that to us. That's not happening. No. Mm-mm. Guys like Evan Mobley, who actually who's fared well against Orlando's front line. Jared Allen, who's also fared well against their front line. This season, I like their chances. I do like their chances. And as good a defender as Suggs is, I think Donovan Mitchell gives him everything he's looking for. Everything. What up, Miguel? Everything he's looking for. You name it, he's giving it to him. 100%. In the mid-range, getting to the basket, getting guys like Max Strus involved, because Donovan Mitchell has been a hell of a playmaker this year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Karis LeVert gives them good minutes off the bench. I feel like Cleveland's rotation is better than Orlando's rotation. I think that both Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I feel like they can handle. I feel like they can handle Franz Wagner and Paolo and Wendell Carter Jr. I feel like they can handle those guys. And I feel like defensively, I think that Cleveland's defense is better than Orlando's offense, as opposed to Orlando's defense isn't better than Cleveland's offense. And I think that that's going to be the difference in the game. I think Cleveland handles them in 5 games, 6 tops. I think that they straight handle them. And now what that leaves is the number 1 seed, the Boston Celtics. Not sure who they're going to play. I think they're going to play Chicago. I think they're going to end up playing Chicago. Alex Caruso, the news on his ankle is actually promising. No buckets, which means you taking that element off the floor. And he's out for weeks, by the way. So even if they do, even if they do beat Chicago, the Celtics mop them. Straight mop them. I thought that they was gonna mop them anyway with buckets. Yeah, I thought they smoked them anyway with buckets. But the fact that he's now out, I said this yesterday to the fellas, and I kind of got laughed at, with the exception of Mars. I said I think that the Miami Heat are going to make the playoffs, but there's this pit in my stomach. There's this feeling that I have that there's a world where the Miami Heat miss the playoffs. And I said, am I wild to am I bugging out to think that? Am I crazy to think that there's a world where the Miami Heat can miss the playoffs? Thanks, Wyatt. Appreciate you, brother. Is there a world where the Miami Heat could miss the playoffs? Yes, there is. There absolutely is. Especially considering the circumstances now. And I feel like you're in a space where I feel like you're in a space now with Miami where no Tyler Hero last year. This year, Jimmy's going to be out. What are we doing with this unit after this season? How do we upgrade this unit? I'm not sure we could just run it back. We got to upgrade this roster. How do we handle this unit moving forward? We can't just run this back, yo. We can't. No. We cannot just run it back. Like, okay, let's come back next year and let's give it another run. Because Pat, don't get me wrong, Pat Riley is an old school coach, which I appreciate that about him. Because the fact that you held on to Bam for as long as you've held on to him, you are now getting Bam's best years. You got a 20-10 all-league defender on your crew. I think you're going to get that for another 3-4 years. Minimum. Bam's only 26 years old. I think you're going to get that for another 3-4 years. So you're in a good space with Bam. Terry Rozier, I think his contract is up after this year. So you got to figure out what you're going to do with him. You could have moved on from Tyler Hero last summer. You decided to pass. And you stuck with him. And again, I know that Pat Riley thinks like, listen, we're building our unit and we're getting better. But with that being said, there's a time when a unit is maxed out. And I feel like this unit, presently constructed, Kevin Love, I'm sticking with Jaime Jaquez. I'm sticking with Bam. I feel like this. Caleb Martin, Bam. I feel like this unit is maxed out because we're going the other way. 2 years in a row, we've been at the bottom of the playoff race. Last year we were the 8th seed. This year we could very well be out. So what does that mean? Does that mean we run it back again? We can't do that. No, we can't. We have to upgrade this roster. Now, I know that there's some people who say, let's say, well, Pat Riley fell asleep at the wheel last year. Well, I was down to give it one more run. That was this year. And, they came up for Kyle Lowry. They came up for Max Strus. And it wasn't like they traded him. Max Strus walked. Right? He went up to Cleveland. They put $56 million on the table. Pat Riley wasn't prepared to go that high. And I don't blame him. I'd be lying if I said I did. I don't blame him. He wasn't prepared to go that high. So with that being said, he decided to pass. Traded for Terry Rozier, for Kyle Lowry. Traded Kyle Lowry for Terry Rozier, which, all right, Terry Rozier is an 18, 19 a game guy who he's been good, but I still feel like he's needed a little bit more time. So I think you'll see the full effect of Terry Rozier. Excuse me. I think you'll see the full effect of Terry Rozier next season. Because you're right. I wasn't sure if he was on the books. I thought that the Heat traded for him because he was in a contract year. No, they got him on the books for 2 more years. Yeah, 2 more years guaranteed. They got him on the books. So Pat Riley may look at a package deal where this summer he might be looking to move off of him. He might be looking to trade him and upgrade the roster. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to waste any more. I don't want to waste any of Bam's prime years. Again, this is a 20-10 all-league defender. I ain't wasting none of his. I'm not wasting none of his years. None of them. Who is available that I can upgrade my roster with? And I don't mean upgrade my roster with just for a year. No, I'm talking long term, where I can put something very much like what they did with Jimmy in 2020, where I can get a guy on a crew. I got a young guy in Bam who had only been in the league in 2020. He had only been in the league. He was in that Jason Tatum draft class. He had only been in the league, 3 years? When they got Jimmy Butler in 1920, Bam had only been in the league 2 years. That 1920 season was Bam's 3rd year when they get Jimmy Butler. Still a young guy at that point. Him being a young guy, plus Bam, who was a young guy and getting better. So how do I upgrade this Miami Heat roster after this year? Because we can't run it back. We can't run it back. What's gonna ultimately happen is we're gonna end up like Atlanta, where we're stuck in purgatory, where we're the 7-8 seed And every year now, you guys are expecting us to do something astronomical. That's not realistic. It's not. That is not realistic. So I'm feeling Gafford. Not Gafford. Jaime Jaquez. I'm feeling Jaime Jaquez. I'm feeling Bam. What's the story with Duncan Robinson? Where has he been? Is he out for the season? What's going on with Duncan Robinson? Because he's been out of the lineup for quite a while now. He's been hurt. And with him being out of the lineup, that's a long ball shooter that they don't have, that they haven't had, who a lot of their offense is predicated on him. He hasn't played in a week, almost 2 weeks. He's been out of the lineup. It's clearly there's something wrong with him. Clearly. So I do think that I think that the Heat have to upgrade this roster. And upgrade it long term too. Not just, yo, I'm gonna get a guy I'm gonna get a guy to plug him in the meantime. No. That's what you do when you get Paul George, a guy like that. Paul George is not a long-term solution. He is not. Paul George is somebody that's, you get him on a crew that's close to winning it. But right now, I don't feel like this Miami Heat team is there. And I don't think Paul George is the difference. I don't. So I think the Celtics handle these dudes. Even if Jimmy was healthy, I still think that the Celtics handle them dudes in 5 games tops. I do. But it's neither here nor there. Because I think that they lose tomorrow night. I don't think that it's ridiculous that the Bulls beat them. No buckets. Like, they're gonna need legendary performances from Bam, from Tyler Hero. They're going to need legendary performances from those guys. Glass cleaners. And is it ridiculous that it won't happen? No, it's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous that those guys could give legendary performances, but it's also not ridiculous that they don't and they lose. So I'm interested to see how they come out. Now, as far as the West, we still got to figure out. Who Oklahoma City's playing. We're going to find out tomorrow. I think it's going to be Sacramento. I think losing Zion basically wrecked them because he does so much for them. That wrecks them. Brandon Ingram does not look like he's close to competing at a high level. He doesn't look like it. He looks like somebody zapped him of his superpowers. And that's unfortunate. Now, the 2-7 seed, that's the Lakers in Denver. I think the series is going to be more competitive this year. And I think the difference in this series this year is going to be D'Angelo Russell. Denver doesn't have Uncle Drew. Denver doesn't have Uncle Jeff. Denver also doesn't have Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown took D'Angelo Russell out of the series last year. Completely took him out of the series. D'Angelo Russell is coming into these playoffs. Confidence is up here. And their confidence in him is up here. So when you coming into the playoffs like that, it's hard to turn that down. I still think that the Nuggets win the series. I just think that it's going to be more competitive than it was last year. I think it could be a 5, maybe 6-game series. 6 games tops. I don't think that they sweep them. I don't think the Nuggets sweep the Lakers this year. I don't. Joker is so damn good though, and they play so well off of him that you have to make them the favorites. But I'm not one of these people who subscribes to the ideology that Jamal Murray is just going to show up and they're just going to be rolling like they did last year. I am not doing that. Nope. No, I am not. Because as good as he is, he still needed some time to get back. He still needed some time to get back correct. And he's also playing against a more confident unit too. A more confident unit. How do the Lakers beat Denver? Well, I can tell you right now, we have to slow Joker down. That is much easier said than done. Much easier. How do we slow Joker down? Do you crowd him? No, because Joker has already proven he can get to the rim, particularly on Anthony Davis. You can't crowd him. But I'm going to have to give something up. So, all right, what do I give up with Joker? I can't give up him just shooting the basketball. You know why I can't give that up? I can't give that up because if I'm giving him room, that also gives him vision to see what's going on. And it's like shooting fish in a barrel. It's like Tom Brady sitting in the pocket, like Joe Montana just sitting in the pocket and allowing him to throw. He's going to destroy us. We can't have that. No. So we may have to eat Joker's production. We may have to. And how do we slow the rest of these guys down? We have to be more communicative. We have to be more communicative. We have to be more communicative on defense. We got to talk more. We got to get through screens more. We have to talk more switch in action. We can't let them hunt switch in action. We have to get around screens. We can't die on ghost screens. No, we can't do that. Just for the sake of switching. No, we can't do that. I'm not trying to hit. We can't rely solely on James. I've accepted the fact that Anthony Davis is a defender who can score. I've accepted that about him. So I'm not expecting anything ridiculous like 35 and 20. If I get that, bet. I'm expecting 22, 15, 24, 17. That's the kind of production that I'm expecting from him. If I get 35 and 19, nice. I'll take it. But I'm not expecting that on the regular because that's not who he is. He's 24, 17, 3 blocks. Maybe a steal, thwarting guys away from the paint. That's who Anthony Davis is. He is not, I repeat, he is not 29, 32. No. He's a score. He's a defender who can score. That's his game. With the Lakers, he was able to score when he was in New Orleans. He was a bucket getter. I think his best season he was 28 a game. With almost 30 and 10. But with this crew, he's a defender who can score. Get Rui out in transition. That's what I want to do more than anything. Denver doesn't play with a lot of pace. They're one of the better defensive teams in the league, but they don't play with a lot of pace. So you know what I want to do? I want to speed the game up with them because I got the guys to do it. Austin Reeves, Rui, Anthony Davis. We have the guys to speed the game up. I think that we have to, and when I say we, I'm speaking like if I was on the Lakers team. I do the same thing if I was on Cleveland, if I was on Orlando. If we can slow them down, but speed up our game, that makes us, I feel like that makes us more competitive if we can do that. And keep James at the 1. Do not put James off the basketball. Don't do that. Keep James at the 1 and make him consistently the facilitator. We are all going to play off you, James. All of us. And I feel like if you do that, I feel like you got a chance to make the series more competitive. I do believe that. That 3-6 matchup, guys, I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to dive into anything deep with Minnesota and Phoenix, this is the ultimate test for your defense. You guys are the best defense in the league. I equate it to football. If you're the best defense in the league, show it to me. This is the best test. This is the ultimate test for your defense. You're not going to see anything like this with these amount of weapons for the rest of the playoffs. You're not. This is the ultimate test for your defense. I do not want to see Anthony Edwards on KD once. I do not want to see him on him. Jaden McDaniels, this is your assignment. Just like Jaden McDaniels, this is your assignment. Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker is your assignment. That's who you are going to have to deal with. We're not switching. We're not doing any of that. That is your assignment. When KD gets off the ball, make it difficult on him and get it back. And if you are the defender that I think, if you are the defender that I think you are, you're going to have to make it difficult. You can make it difficult on Devin Booker and make him guard on the other end. You can make him guard on the other end. Green, have you seen Rudy on the perimeter this season? Have you seen him? Or no? I'm asking an honest question. Have you seen Rudy on the perimeter this season? Just an honest question. Have you seen Rudy Gobert on the perimeter this season? Because I think you still living in I still think that you living in 2021. I do. See, that's what I'm talking about. I think you still living in 2021. I do. 100%. And I don't and they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that with him. They're not going to get Anthony Edwards switching Rudy Gobert onto Devin Booker. They'll get him chasing him, sure, but they won't get him switching on him. But I think you still living in 2021. Because if you weren't, you would see how much better Rudy is closing out. You would see how much better Rudy is chasing guys off screen. You would see how much better Rudy is not just closing out on the top side. I think you still living in 2021. But this is the ultimate test for Minnesota's defense. The ultimate. Joker is a different beast in the aspect that I feel like Joker is a tank. And it's hard taking out a tank, but it's one tank. With Phoenix, you got a MAC-10, you got an AK-47, you got an AR-15, you got grenades. That's all that is with Phoenix. And what is your defense against that artillery? That's tough. I think that's ridiculously tough. I think this is the ultimate test for your defense. The ultimate. And I think that if you can handle these dudes, I think you got a good shot moving forward in the playoffs. I do. I think you got a damn good shot moving forward in the playoffs. Off the strength that you're not going to see anything else like that. Nothing else like that. And I like Minnesota's. Somebody brought something up to me earlier that I have to reconsider, and that is there's a different. And I actually said this. Minnesota's offense isn't bad. It's because they get good action. It's what they produce. That's the that. I think that's the difference. So, with that being said, right? If they could keep these games in the low 100s with their defense, I feel like they got a chance to win. I feel like they got a. I feel like they got a really good chance to win if they could keep these games in the low 100s. We'll find out though. We're definitely going to find out. But I want to hear from you guys. You tell me what you're thinking, because I think this Clippers Mavs series, that Minnesota team, I think that they got something good going. I do. What up?
Can you hear me?
What up?
Chill. The East is just going to be a breeze for my C's. No Giannis, no Jimmy Butler, no Julius Randle. It's going to be a complete breeze for them to get to the finals. There's no excuse for them not to make it this year. There's really no excuse.
Even if they were there, I still think that they walked to the finals. Even if they were there. If Jimmy was in Miami and he was playing, I still think that they smoked Miami.
Agreed. I fully agree as well.
Even if Jimmy was there, I still think that they served them. I think that offensively, I don't think that they have enough firepower, and you asking them to duplicate something that's almost impossible from last year. I just don't buy it. I don't.
You think they beat Chicago tomorrow?
I think Chicago's got a real good shot at beating them tomorrow. No buckets, and now you asking all them other dudes to pick up the slack. Like, I don't think Terry Rozier's going either.
Terry Rozier's not playing?
I don't think he's playing. I haven't heard him. I have not heard
Rozier. Well, Chicago isn't going to have Alex Caruso.
Well, so he's been upgraded. He has been upgraded. The ankle isn't as bad as they thought it was.
It's not as bad. Okay, so he potentially will play. He will be playing. If he plays, I do think that Chicago will be actually beating Miami, and they're out of the postseason, right? So let's go to the Western Conference. You think that you wholeheartedly think that the Clippers are going to lose to the Mavs? You think Kawhi is going to have any big games to kind of close that series out?
First and foremost, I don't even know. Like, what's the story on his health? 1 minute he's sitting out because of knee soreness, and now the knee has gotten worse and it's swelled up. So we don't know what that is. And I also feel like one of the main factors in this is coaching. And I think Ty Lue coaches right into Jason Kidd's hands. I do. I think he coaches right into his hands. He's going to go small, and he's going to try to speed the game up, which is perfect for Dallas because they're going to slow the game down.
Chill, what are your thoughts on the Knicks 76ers series? That's going to be very competitive. Do you think that the Sixers can get past the Knicks, or is the Knicks defense just too good for the 76ers to move past them?
I think the Knicks, the difference with the Knicks is I feel like just like with Miami and Jimmy Butler in particular, one of the main reasons why people can't really put their finger on why Jimmy is so awesome is because they see everybody else playing a completely different way. Jimmy Butler makes it clear, I'm better at my game than I am at your game. And I feel like the Knicks, we're better at our game than we are at your game. Even though we can play in a number of different ways, this style of play that we play, you can't play this way. But Philly in particular, they can't. And because they can't, I think the Knicks get them.
Especially since Joel Embiid has been, he's kind of been wobbling a little bit. He's not as dominant as he was pre-injury. He seems like he's playing himself into health right now. So in that West, Chill, who do you have winning? So like each series, so Mavs, Clippers, you have Mavs. So Lakers, Nuggets, you think it's not going to be a cakewalk for the Nuggets again?
I think that it's going to be a more competitive series. I think Denver still beats them though. I just think it's going to be a more competitive series.
In five games?
6 games. Tops.
That's a gentleman sweep, Chill. That's competitive.
I think that they can. I think that they can win 6. I think that they can win maybe 2. I think that they can win 2 games. I do.
Maybe 2 games. Mm-hmm. Okay, so after the Denver and the Lakers, what else? What other team? It's Minnesota and Phoenix. So who exactly?
That's the ultimate test for their defense, man. You dudes are if you dudes are what I think you are, I think you can handle Phoenix.
If they can stop Phoenix, can they get to Denver and slow them down?
And I think if they get to Denver, they give Denver the toughest test that Denver has had all year. Because I don't think anybody else can challenge them like Minnesota. I don't think anybody brings. There isn't another team in the West that has what Minnesota has defensively. Because you're not going to be able to match them offensively. Because they got the ultimate weapon. Right?
You don't think Phoenix can beat them too?
Beat who?
They have the recipe. Phoenix.
Beat who? Beat Denver?
Yeah.
No, I think Denver mops them.
Really? How they got on the offensive glass this season? You don't think they can replicate that?
I think they mop them.
Mop Phoenix.
I think they mop them, dude. Yes, I do. I think they
So
straight mopped them.
So I'm assuming your conference final is Minnesota and Denver, and the East most likely it's Knicks and Boston. So you probably have Boston going to the finals, and that Denver Minnesota team, and that Denver and Minnesota series. Who do you have coming out of it? 7-game series.
I think the team to beat in the Western Conference is Denver. 100% it is. So, yes.
Well, all right, chill. You have a good one.
I'll talk to you. Yep. I until somebody beat Denver 4 times in a week, especially in the Western Conference, I don't see nobody. I don't see nobody stopping them. I can see some teams slowing them down, and I can see some teams making it competitive. I think the Lakers make it really competitive for them, and I think that there's some things that we are leaving out when it comes to this Denver Nuggets series that they didn't have last year, that they had last year that they don't have this year. I think there's some stuff that we're leaving out, and the fact that they don't have that stuff from last year, that's really important. Really important. So I think it's going to be definitely more competitive series. What up?
What up? You're absolutely right. There are some stuff that they don't have from last year. That they had last year that they don't have this year. Number one being the fact that Bruce Brown was attacking the shit out of their guards last year, bro. D'Lo and Austin Reeves was a Kentucky Fried Chicken when he ran into him. I don't know if Christian Braun or Watson is going to apply that same type of pressure, but we're gonna have to wait and see. You already know how I feel about the Lakers, Knicks, and the Celtics, man. But I'm gonna leave bias out of this one by starting off with the good old Tangerine Knickerbockers. We're gonna start off with them. We're gonna start off by how their team is much better than last year. We're gonna start off how they must shooters is better than last year. They defend better than last year. They got better cohesion and better collusion than last year. They got better
Without Randall.
At least they playing like him. I mean, like they've been playing like it up until this point. So I mean, they number 2. They probably didn't want number 2 seed, but I mean they are number 2.
If they make the East Finals without Randall, do they move off of him?
It depends on who they move off of him for. My thing is if you're moving off of him, then you better have somebody at that 4 position that's gonna apply some pressure and shoot the long ball and rebound. The rebound just as good. Shoot the long ball just as good. Create just as good. Get their own basket just as good. So you better have a backup, a contingency plan if you plan on just getting rid of Julius Randle, or figure out how to get him accustomed to the OG Anunobis, the DiVincenzo's, the Josh Harts, and the Hartenstein, who has been. They all been playing incredible basketball. But at the end of the day, kind of like the Dallas Cowboys, it's the New York Knicks. It's the Knicks. You know that. I mean, you already know what this is. You already know they're gonna find some way to screw it up, man. And me and you both know that because we both understand what toxic fan bases do. We both understand what toxic teams do. We understand that. We understand how the lights get so bright in New York, just as light bright as they get in LA, because these is 2 key markets, man. And once you get them threes don't fall the same like they do in the regular season for some reason. Somehow DiVincenzo is gonna have to prove that he can outshoot Buddy Hield in a playoff series. Somehow, another thing about that series against the Sixers, they missing what I believe is one of their best defenders in DeAnthony Melton. I ain't see him most of the year. I haven't seen. He's been hurt from. Yeah, and I don't even think he's playing. So the Knicks should win this series, but if they don't, but it's gonna be you know why they not like
it's one of those things like we ain't surprised if they don't win it.
Yeah, we ain't surprised they don't, because it's the Knicks. That's why they're gonna find a way to screw it up. You know what I'm saying? So you already know that. Now, as far as the Lakers series, listen, I'll be honest with you, bro. Listen. Even if Jamal Murray don't come in and give you basically Super Saiyan Kyrie Irving, the light skinned version of him from last year, I mean the Lakers. I think the Nuggets just figured out how to play any style of play that you want to play. They figured out how to execute. They figured out how to play off the ball. They figured out how to out perimeter you. They figured out how to contain LeBron with Aaron Gordon. They figured out how to do a whole bunch of things that we didn't think they could figure out how to do. And last year they figured it out, and then they carried it on to this year. And I'm looking at the Lakers. I'm like, okay, well, you had to duck somebody. so You couldn't duck who you really wanted to duck, and we
Well,
was talking about this last episode. So I mean,
if we're talking about a Laker team that Denver has figured out, so to speak, right? They figured them out. They got these dudes. They got these dudes figured out. Do they sweep them again?
Maybe it's not a sweep. I'm hoping it's a sweep, man, because I don't give a shit about the Lakers, man. But I mean, I'm hoping it's another grooming.
You get swept 2 years in a row by the same crew.
I mean, if it gets, yeah. If you get swept 2 years,
close.
Yeah, you're not even close. If you get swept 2 years, that means that you have no chance. Break this team up, man. LeBron, figure out what your next contingency plan is. AD, figure out how to get back into 4, bro, because the 5 is just not for you. It's just not. Even though as good as a defender that you may be, as good as the rim protector as you may be, no. This dude right here, this Serbian dude, no, you don't have nothing for him. No, it's out of question. Now, as far as that Dallas and Clippers series, I've been back and forth. I've been up and down about that series. Kawhi is unfortunately got the knee swelling, and I'll be honest with you, man, it's looking like another curtain call for the Los Angeles Flippers, as we like to call them, because we knew they was gonna flip. And you know what? I refuse to even continue on. I just got to make sure I get you the Toronto Raptors Kawhi Leonard jersey, so you don't never wear the slippers one no more. I don't ever want to see that shit again. So to make sure wherever you got it at in your closet, you ball it up, you donate it to charity, you do whatever you need to do with it. Just get it out the house. I'm telling the same shit to Bobby. Now, question. If you OKC, who do you want? Who do you want in the first round?
It ain't a matter of who I want. It's a matter of who wants me. That's what I think. I think that's what it is more than anything.
You're powering up, huh?
Because remember who you're dealing with here. You're dealing with a bunch of kids. And not only are you dealing with a bunch of kids, you're dealing with a bunch of kids who, when you're a kid, you got a different attitude. What I mean when I say that, Leaf, is you dumb enough to think you could do it.
You are dumb enough to think you can do it. But listen,
you're a lot stronger when you're a kid mentally. When I say mentally, I mean you think that, I can lift that. I can push that.
Yeah.
That's the plus until you until you actually get in the ring and you actually get the fight and you're like, oh shit, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So they got a bunch of kids who are in a good way dumb enough to think they can win, but the reality of the playoffs smacks you in the face really quickly.
It does, and in terms of who I think they should avoid, to me, is probably Sacramento, because Sabonis is going to run in your chest. And then if you ain't got no heart in that paint, man, it's going to be proven. Sabonis is going to run down that lane, and he is going to look for the kill almost every single time. So Chet Holmgren, bro, listen, I know you understand you like a $190. This is the series where you got to look like you at least 225, 240 something pounds.
Maybe.
That's just me. But I mean, listen, in the matchup between SGA and De'Aaron Fox, if you OKC, you really want to see that?
That should be a wash. It should be.
It should be a wash. Wait. Now, when you say wash,
exactly what I said. He should not. SGA should not completely outplay De'Aaron Fox, and the other way around. Whatever De'Aaron Fox does,
it's a standoff.
It should be a wash. Whatever De'Aaron Fox does, I got to do the same thing.
Okay, so that means Sabonis is probably going to have the best advantage of running that check and getting in that paint, because we know how talented he is on the offensive end, and we already know he can apply pressure on your paint, which we seen all season. OKC, as far as paint, they ain't it. They ain't it. You know what I'm saying? So
we're gonna find out, though, Leaf. Good to talk to you, brother. You know where to find me at, man.
Damn, I had a few more before I go, but I ain't gonna waste your time, man.
I gotta go, brother. We'll talk soon.
My bad. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, brother. No doubt. What up, Joel?
Yeah.
What up?
I'm gonna get straight to the point. I'm done with Jimmy Butler. I'm
out?
not trying to. Yeah, I'm out.
Are you out?
I want out early. I want out early, bro. Whoa. I want out early because I think he has 1 year, 2 more years max. I mean, like, either way it goes, we're gonna lose either tomorrow or in the first round. Like, and after, like since last night, I haven't watched a real Heat game in like 2 weeks because they always start trolling at the end. I don't want to watch bad basketball, but Jimmy just looks so unathletic now. Like he just looks so slow getting back on defense. He can't rise up to a shot anymore. He can't run through contact anymore. After I feel like we
So
should get
Joe,
off.
your logic with him is I'd rather get off the boat now than wait for it to
Yes,
sink, and then
yes,
now I
yes,
can't get
yes,
off. You want to get out
yeah,
now.
yes.
I don't hate that. I don't. I do not
Because
hate that.
what I'm thinking. I think there's three people that at most like I want to retool. I think there's two people that we cannot trade, which is Bam Adebayo, Jaime Hawkins, and Nikola Jokic and
Mm-hmm.
Jovic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, depending
I'm cool
how
with that.
depending how the Pelicans go, if they lose tomorrow, like they done with Brandon Ingram, I won't mind the swap.
I'm good on
But
Brandon
I
Ingram.
think that,
The same way
but
you
I
feel
think
about Jimmy Butler, that's the same way I feel about well, it's not the same way I feel about him, but I do understand what you're saying. But Joel, I gotta go, brother. But good to talk to you. I appreciate you, my man. Absolutely. Cowboy, what up, brother?
Salute.
What's
Enough
up,
Knicks
brother?
talk. I got a quick question to ask you.
Yeah.
With this play-in tournament, I think that it should be the last 4 games of the season. The bottom 4 teams, 7, 8, 9, and 10, play it in a round robin. Everyone plays like if you hit basically once you get to the last 4 games, I feel like pretty much seeding is done 1 through 6.
Yeah.
But the 7, 8, 9, 10 spot, they should go in a round robin. Best of everyone plays each other. 4 teams, 3 games, and then that fourth game is used for any tiebreakers right before the season ends. And then all the other teams that are pretty much playing those 4 games still get the regularly scheduled. I think it's better because what most people aren't noticing, playing tournament and the season tournament right now, there's anywhere from 3 to about 6 extra games the league is getting from them. Yeah,
Right.
they're paying them $500,000 up front now, but if you look at it on the back end, those 5 or 6 games is technically a playoff series.
Right. But with what you're telling me about the play-in tournament that's about the in-season tournament that's earlier in the year, this round robin that you're talking about at the end of the year, yeah, man. So I got to play a lot more games. So I got to play a playoff
No.
series.
No. It's this. It's the like when we get to game 78 of the season, those are the
Okay.
last 4 games, 78, 79, like
Yeah.
82. Once we get
So
there,
Miami, Chicago, Atlanta, and Philly, them 4 teams, they're gonna get together in a pool. And the highest seed, so like let's say like the play-in tournament, basically. So
yeah.
7 plays 10 and 8 plays 9.
And they
And
all
then
play each other, and the one with the best record, because it's technically 3 games you're gonna play. The one with the best record, and if the second team with the tie, those two duke it out for the second spot. Because to be honest, at the end of the season, it's even more dangerous because look what happened with Jimmy. Look what happened with Zion. Like at least these guys would be off because of the play-in tournament isn't there. See what I'm
right.
saying? Like you don't really have a week of a play-in tournament. You just move it up to the end of the regular season. So you end off the regular season with a bang. As
So
opposed,
so those guys now with what you're saying, we're not ending the regular season at 78 games. You guys are ending it. We're still playing 82 games, but
yes.
you guys are basically ending the regular season at 78, and then you guys get into a round robin and make it a little bit more interesting. I think this is I think that this Cowboy is more for the fans, and I appreciate it, but I still feel like, man, that we did enough to get in the playoffs. The Miami Heat. We did enough to get in the playoffs. Philly. We did enough to get in the playoffs. New Orleans. We did enough to get in the playoffs. The Lakers. We shouldn't have to do this extracurricular stuff. Now, but I also understand that for viewership, for sponsorship, and for eyes on the TV, and the casual fan, because you and me, we already on the hook. They already got us.
Yep.
Right? They already got what they looking for is they're looking for Bob at the water cooler. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for Susan at the coffee shop, right? Because she know who LeBron James is, right? So she know who Julius Randle is. That's what they're trying to get on the hook. I can appreciate it from that aspect. But from a basketball player and fan stand, we already got to play in tournaments. 82 games. If you can't get in playoffs after 82 games, you're in the playoff team.
And what people don't realize is those games in the playing tournament and all of this is like extra 4 or 5 games. Yo, you get hurt more in those games than you actually do in the season, or
And just so
even
you
in the
know, Bob, those games that playing tournament, it's not recorded. Just so you know.
Yeah.
And by the way, Bob, if you go back and look up the stats from 2021 playing tournament, you're not going to find them because it's not recorded.
To me, it just looks like they're trying to water down a product that they already have. To me, I just think that if you're going to use this, you should use it to the back end of the tournament to where 1 through 6 is already locked up. Or even better yet, at the end of the season, top 12 teams match it out. Still keep the East and West, but the top 12 teams, hey, y'all duke it out. Like have it like an actual pool. No, like still keep the Western and the Eastern Conference, but at the end of 82, the top 6 teams, which will be 6 from the East, 6 from the West, and we just do it basically like they do in college. Like the Elite Eight or something like that. And then just battle out. Oh, we could see basically if you rank first, you go first. Like let's say Boston. Boston's the number 1 seed. And then basically where you rank off of winners, that's where you fit in. I think that'll be much better because it'll get everybody that all this extra games and all this chaos out of the way. I just don't want to see players get hurt. This game has been. This game has changed to where from back in the 90s where it was 1 or 2 teams, everybody got a shot now. But that's all I got for you, man. Thanks.
You know where to find me at, Cowboy?
Go New York, go New York, go.
All right, brother. Out. That's Cowboy Bob right there. Big time Knicks fan. We talk all the time. So, all right, guys. It's about that time for me. It was good to see you guys tonight. I will see you guys soon. Play-in tournament is still going on. We still got a couple more games. We still got a couple more games left before this thing is decided. But I will see you guys soon. I'm on the panel tomorrow morning. I'm on TikTok tomorrow morning from 9 to 10. I'm on the panel from 11 to 2 tomorrow. And Sunday, I'm doing playback. I'm on Chill with Chill on playback on Saturday on playback. We're no longer on YouTube. We're on playback TV. And then Sunday, I'm doing the Celtics game, whoever they play. I'm doing that game. And we'll keep it rolling. We will keep it rolling. I will see you guys soon. It was good to see you, but I will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. Call your mother. I got to call my mother. I haven't talked to my mother in a while, so I got to call my mother. I will see you guys soon, man. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys.